If you're anything like me, you too are getting tired of the subluxation debate in chiropractic. There has been an enormous amount of energy expended in trying to remove subluxation from our lexicon. It's remarkable that the term has been banned at some chiropractic colleges, and there was a major issue not so long ago about the term subluxation even being in accreditation documents here in the United States. It is interesting that it has become a political issue in our profession and used by some in the profession to minimize the effect that subluxation has on human health. In fact, that perspective is that a subluxation only has nociceptive effects. Given this, why would we even debate about it in the first place? And it got me thinking that wouldn't it be great if we had a definitive resource that resolved the subluxation issue? You know, there's a couple of realities. The first is the World Health Organization perspective, and the second is millions and millions of chiropractic patients for 120 years. The analysis of the spine is central to the practice of chiropractic, even in the World Health Organization document entitled Basic Training and Safety in Chiropractic, published in numerous languages. And the WHO, in describing chiropractic, goes on to say that there is an emphasis on manual techniques, including a joint adjustment and/or manipulation, with a particular focus on the subluxation. It also says, in describing chiropractic practice, that it, quote, emphasizes the conservative management of the neuromusculoskeletal system without the use of medicines and surgery. So what is incredible is the move in a number of chiropractic circles away from subluxation. People have criticized accrediting agencies for their part in this, others have blamed the schools, and others see the problem as the insuranceization of chiropractic as the enemy. I would suggest that it is an issue of philosophy and of neurology, an understanding of the purpose and practice objective of chiropractic. And the reality is that as a profession, we seem to have moved further away from the spine, further away from the nervous system, and in general terms, chiropractors are less concerned about the spine. They're less specific at analyzing and adjusting the spine. And the loser in this is the people we serve and their health. In my career, I've always looked to move towards the subluxation. In my practice, for over a decade in Australia, I was always looking for where the primary subluxation in my patients was, attempting to locate and as efficiently and artfully and as gently as possible to correct this. When I was president of the Australian Spinal Research Foundation, we raised money and invested in research projects that explored the subluxation. And today, the Australian Spinal Research Foundation is even stronger and more committed to this goal. The reality is that as a profession, if we don't research this entity called the subluxation, who will? When I was president of the New Zealand College of Chiropractic, I hired Hardy Harvick, who's now risen to be one of the profession's leading neurophysiological researchers, understanding the effects of subluxation and adjustments on brain function. And it got me thinking, what more can we do? Here at Life West, we are pleased to launch a book by one of our professors, Dr. Bill Ruck. The text, entitled The Atlas of Common Subluxations of the Human Spine and Pelvis, 2nd edition, has just been released and is an update on the 1st edition produced and published some 15 years ago. It is an important text for chiropractors, for educators, and for students worldwide. The author, Dr. Bill Ruck, has shared the rights with Life West in a new project, and we've produced this for the first time under our publishing house, Life West Press. Essentially, Dr. Ruck went into the anatomy lab and looked at the spines of cadavers of people of various ages. He imaged them using plain film radiography and then sectioned them to understand what was happening inside the spine. And he spent thousands and thousands of hours with his team researching this. The results are dramatic. They demonstrate the effect of uncorrected spinal damage on the spinal cord, the shape of the spinal canal, and consequently, the flow of cerebrospinal fluid. And I asked Dr. Ruck why he spent thousands of hours doing this research and writing this book.
I wanted to study the human spine, and I felt the best way to do it was to look as many as I could get, and we turned it into a study and did photographs and x-rays, and it shows the damage to the human spine that occurs with subluxation. I hope that people can make use of it to become better providers and help out their patients.
The second edition is now in colour and includes MRI images and a new chapter on the rib cage. There's a tendency in some chiropractic practices to default to how a person feels. If they're feeling better or asymptomatic, the assumption in some philosophies is that their care is complete or that there is no further need or justification for chiropractic care. Well, what about this concept? That the spinal subluxation wasn't corrected, that the spine hadn't been restored to full function. What is the long-term effect, not only on this person's spine, but on their life? So at a time when a small segment of our profession is saying subluxations are a historical concept, as it is in the United Kingdom, or that there is limited evidence for the subluxation, we would like to invite you to purchase a copy of this landmark text and study it. Interestingly, in the late 1990s, I was using the first edition of this text in my patient's report of findings when I was practicing down in Australia to attempt to share what was potentially occurring in their spine having long-term spinal damage. This book is available from the website below. Enjoy the read.